Let's talk about Dave Chappelle and Andrew Yang. For 200, Johnson. Now, Dave Chappelle, notable comedian, said some things in a couple of specials. People gave him grief. I defended him. I feel like a comedian should be able to speak and make jokes and go where the funny is. And sometimes he will be successful, and sometimes he will not be successful. There have been times I've been successful on this show. There's some other times I haven't been as successful. Chappelle. So Dave Chappelle, I love this guy. I think the guy is amazing. I supported Ben Jealous, had Ben Jealous on the show, interviewed Ben Jealous, then supported his run as governor of Maryland, my state. Ben Jealous' platform was very similar to Bernie Sanders. As you know, Ben Jealous endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016. Unfortunately, Ben Jealous was unsuccessful. But fortunately, Dave Chappelle, who was a cousin of Ben Jealous, actually campaigned for Ben Jealous in Maryland. But for whatever reason, he was unable to get Ben Jealous a victory or help him get the victory. So we're still stuck with Larry Hogan. Disappointing it is. That's why I was so surprised with Dave Chappelle, who I thought was tired of politics in a certain way after that punch in the nose he got after traveling around with Ben Jealous, that he would step out and put his pinky toe in the water of politics again, that he would, dare I say, jump out into the lake and do some swimming. Hell, Dave Chappelle is now officially doing the backstroke in the waters of political madness. To that point, Dave Chappelle recently endorsed Andrew Yang. Now, guys, I got a lot to say about this, but just in case anybody has not seen the clip, have not seen Dave Chappelle's endorsement of Andrew Yang, don't worry, here you go.
Well, thank you all for being here. It's not something I'm really accustomed to doing, but I think it's important, so I'm here to do it. And if you got any questions,
can you talk about how you learned about Andrew Yang and what about his message you liked, and why did you decide to get involved with him?
Okay, good question. First time I heard Andrew Yang, I called a friend of mine after the first debates, one of the early debates, and said, I didn't see the debate. I said, who did you like? He said, I like the Chinese guy. I thought he was joking. And he told me about Andrew Yang. It was the first time I heard of him. Months later, when my special was coming out, Andrew posted something on Twitter saying, oh, I like Dave Chappelle, he's one of my favorite comedians. And a bunch of my friends told me about him. I'm like, oh yeah, I heard of this guy. It just so happened that week, one of my neighbors had given me his book. I was on flight, I read the book. Couldn't believe what I read. So I had my wife reach out to his campaign. They vetted me, they called me back, and we ended up meeting in LA before he went to a debate in Long Beach. We were only supposed to meet for a few minutes, but we ended up connecting. We talked for quite some time, and I found him to be something that's real hard to be as a candidate. He was inspiring. His narrative and the courage it took for him to be like the first Asian American to make a real go of a presidential race. And I believed him. I was like, yo, this could happen, this could work, and I love this platform. What do I like about this platform? Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen it. There's a movie called American Factory that my neighbors made. The people who made that film live close to me, and the factory that they speak about in the film is not far from my home. And it tells a real important story of what's happening in Dayton, Ohio. Dayton, Ohio has like a third of the people there living below the poverty line. You would take a poll in Dayton and say, what would you rather have, $12,000 a year or health insurance? Everyone's taking the money. Like health insurance is great, but groceries are necessary too. And people in Dayton are having a hard time getting the things they need. I started imagining what a universal basic income would do for my community, and it would save it almost instantly. You know, we recently suffered, mass shootings and all kinds of, everything that happens in the news happens in our backyard in Dayton, the opioid epidemic, all of these things. And I like the idea of giving people choices, putting the money in their hands and giving them the choices. They would consider things that aren't even an option to consider now. And they can do things that aren't an option to do. And that part of this platform I found incredibly exciting. More importantly, you'll hear people say stuff like, make America great again. Well, how about make America feel better again? And I think his platform handles a lot of the emotional content of what being American is like. Being a homemaker, not being under-recognized or a worker and being under-recognized, the fear of not being able to pay your bills, this would alleviate a lot of the bad feelings in the country almost immediately. And it's something that I think anyone can get behind. It's important.
Okay, guys, so there you go. Now, there was more said in that clip. It's a longer clip. I don't own the clip, so I don't want problems with my with the status of my channel by playing too much of it. But you got the gist of it. Dave Chappelle had a reason for his endorsement. It's not just that he likes Asians. Yeah, because people were saying that, maybe it has something to do with his wife. So he gives you the impression that he's being very thoughtful or is very thoughtful. And I never really doubted that Dave Chappelle is a deep thinker. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love what he does, is because he does think about things. Now, one of the things I've seen people do about this is either pan it and say he's showing favoritism to Asians, which is disrespectful as hell. If it was a white guy, would you say he's showing favor to white folks? I think his mom is half white or something like that. His mom is half white or something. No, you shouldn't say that, so that's kind of garbage. And the other thing is, they're just saying that he's not thinking about anybody but himself. No, if he wasn't thinking about anybody but himself, he probably wouldn't vote at all, or he wouldn't get involved at all. Make no mistake about it. It is a risk for an entertainer to come out for anybody who's not the establishment. So let's make sure we recognize that. I don't care who you are. If they come out and not for the establishment, and I'm talking Joe Biden, Amy Klobuchar, or someone of that ilk, it can be a problem. So let's dispense with the whole Dave don't care about people and Dave's doing this for some weird reason. Now, that doesn't mean he's right, though, Johnson. Okay? It doesn't mean he's right. But we'll get to that in a minute. The other thing is, let's stop acting like $12,000 wouldn't help people. There are people who don't, for the record, forget it. I'm going to act like there are people watching here who have never heard me talk about this before, and you're none of those people who are dishonest, who don't pay attention when I have talked. I will never say that $12,000 wouldn't help people. It would help people, Johnson. Who the heck wouldn't benefit from $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month with your bills, to help with your bills? You're not hearing me. Of course it would. I support universal basic income. Just not Andrew Yang's version of it. Now, Andrew Yang's version of it is not great. Now, if I could talk to Dave Chappelle, I would first say thank you for all the funny jokes, man. I loved your last special the most. You killed it. And thank you for the Chappelle Show. And thank you for coming back doing comedy. And damn, I admire the fact that you were gone for 10 years and you still came back better and bigger and stronger. Most people leave for 2 years, you never hear from them again. You're a bad brother. Then I say, what the hell is wrong with you, Dave Chappelle? Why you support Andrew Yang? And why are you making this argument? Why are you pitting Bernie Sanders supporters versus Yang supporters? Why are you doing that, bringing up Medicare for all in your choice, bringing up universal basic income, and then pitting that against health care? People need both. People need income, and people need to be alive to enjoy their income. So I don't understand why he did that. Now, maybe there's something there. They asked him a question like, why didn't you support Bernie? And I'm thinking they probably did, because there are reporters there. I think he was asked a question. So that's the only thing, but I can't see it. I can't see that part of what happened. So if that's the case, fine. But Dave Chappelle, there are people with astronomical medical bills. The number one reason for bankruptcy is medical bills, sir, and $12,000 ain't going to change that. $12,000 will barely cover you being in the hospital more than a week, Dave. This is the situation that we're all in. That's what I have a problem with. But let's just assume people are all healthy, no one gets sick, and it's not the number one cause of bankruptcy in America that puts people in them damn tent cities. Let's pretend that's not the case. Dave, Andrew Yang's idea of universal basic income will destroy the welfare state. It will destroy those policies, the ability for people to collect certain endowments from the state that I feel like they earned. Now, if you stack UBI on top of everything we already have, you get no argument from me. But notice, Dave, a lot of us will be upset about the racial wealth gap only increasing under Andrew Yang's plan. See, I fundamentally have a problem with Andrew Yang's plan for one huge thing, if you put everything else aside that I just said. Dave Chappelle, I know you come from a family that's had two parents, and I know you come from a middle-class family. You said you made just enough money to be poor around white people. Okay, fine. What if you were single? You came from a single family home, and you and your brothers and sisters, I don't know how many siblings you have, but you all live with mama, just mom. Well, you would get your $1,200. I mean, your $1,000 a month, right? But do you know what a white family, well-to-do family, or middle-class family in that same neighborhood that you were lucky enough to live around, that had two parents and maybe one sibling that was under 18 or over 18? Well, they would get $3,600, Dave, or $3,000, Dave, because it's $1,000, right? Yeah, $1,000. So they would get $3,000. They would get $1,000 for every above 18-year-old person in the household, which means a single mom who's on the system gets screwed. A single man that's on the system gets screwed. And people with the most money get the most money. They get even more money. That's a problem. This is a flaw in Andrew Yang's plan. Now, you say we don't want means testing because it will only make people be disgruntled against poor people. Okay, I get it. Well, then you know what? I don't like this plan. I think we need a better plan. I think we need to fight for what we want and not just ask for what can we get. We need to fight for what we can get. But we make what we can get by fighting for it. We don't just say, hey, we want to take the path of least resistance, so let's give everybody a bunch of money and let's give the poor folks a little bit and give the rich people more, and then that way we get the poor people something. No, let's make programs that help those people who are under the poverty line that you speak about in Dayton, Ohio. So it's fundamentally flawed that you would endorse a system that disproportionately benefits people who don't need it the most, and it penalizes people who need it more. And I also find it problematic, man, that Andrew Yang tweeted out a video of some guys in Harlem, and I know they're not working from the Andrew Yang gang, but they're running around giving out thousands of dollars to people they don't know, saying this is how it's going to be under Andrew Yang. This is manipulating people to get their vote. No, why didn't they tell them, hey, do you get food stamps? Well, that's coming out your $1,000. Hey, why didn't they tell them, do you get public housing? That's coming out your $1,000. But if you're good and you got a full-time job, this money stacks. You don't see a problem with that? Now, I know you read his book and you read his website, but did you read the fine print on the policy? And another thing about the medical coverage thing, I never had a problem with Andrew Yang having his own healthcare plan. My problem was he was fronting. He was fronting to the world that he supported Medicare for all, and then he does it. That's misrepresentation. And that makes it really hard for me to trust you going forward. All that being said, man, Dave Chappelle can support and endorse whoever the hell he wants to endorse. If he endorsed Bernie, that would have been great. I wouldn't have said crap except yay. So I'm not saying it's wrong, or look, I had no problems with who Dave wants to support. But once you support a candidate, people get to have something to say. Nobody just goes, it's not like it's off limits to comment on Dave Chappelle's choice when he made it public. Now, if he would have went in the voting booth and kept it quiet and kept it low, that would have been a different story. He's doing benefits for Andrew Yang. He's acting as a surrogate. Surrogates get talked about. Andrew Yang gang, I know some of you are new to the political process, but this is how it works. When you are a celebrity, probably one of the most popular people in the country, which is Dave Chappelle, when you endorse somebody and you go on the road for them, people are going to criticize it. Wake up and at least pretend to act as if you understand how this works a bit and understand why people might be concerned or have something to say. But once again, to close it all down, Dave Chappelle do what he wants to do. He don't need my damn permission to do anything he does. But I get to critique him. Now, that's my reasoning. I got a feeling Dave doesn't know the things I just pointed out. I got a feeling that no one explained it quite that way, especially if it takes Andrew Yang to explain it. Because Andrew Yang, he's the same guy who said he supported Medicare for all when he didn't. So I doubt very seriously, guys, I doubt that Dave Chappelle knows that this stuff don't stack for poor people. Or maybe the people in Dayton aren't doing as bad as Dave says they are doing. Because if they are, Dave, their money ain't going to stack, but yours will. Get it? Yours will. Get it? You the rich, you will benefit the most from it than the person living down the street from you who's living under the poverty line, who's already getting probably some form of public assistance already. That's a problem, bro. All right. That's all I got to say about that. Comment in the comment section below. What do you think about Dave Chappelle? And Donnell Rawlins. I love Donnell Rawlins, a.k.a. Ashy Larry. That's my guy. I think he's funny, too. I saw Dave Chappelle when he came to D.C., him and Donnell Rawlins. I know you rich, bitch. But saying, I'm rich, bitch, and I support Andrew Yang, like that's... Dude, this is serious stuff, man. But I know you're a comedian, but I'm just saying it's kind of serious stuff. Like, pretend that there are some people whose lives depend on this. Like there are people in my family whose lives depend on their benefits being right. And I know we got some young people who are on hard times. I'm saying this is a Band-Aid. We need to fix all this shit, not just put a few dollars in people's pockets that our system will inevitably come and take from them anyway. Because if you give people money like that, people going to raise prices on stuff. But they can't raise prices on a government program such as health care. That's the whole point of Medicare for All, so you can't raise prices. All right, I'm gone, guys.